This is another episode of the Backstage Sports Podcast. I'm Joe Connor.
I'm JT Harker.
And today we have a very, very, very special guest today.
Amen.
We've waited a long time to get this guy on today. And it's so appropriate because of everything that here we go. Yeah. It's so appropriate because of everything that's going on right now in the world. I think being able to touch base with family right now is one of the most beneficial things that you can do for yourself and your morale. So we have my brother on, Len Jackson. What's up, bro?
What's happening? What's goody? What's goody? What's going on?
So for y'all who don't know, all of the veracity that I get as a debater, a lot of it has come from being beat up on by my big brother as a young adult.
Len, let me just thank you now. Then thank you.
Listen, man, he the best of the best, man.
A lot of the craziness that I have to debate any type of subject, sports included, anything. A lot of it comes from him. If you know me, then you know that he is just as crazy and as wild as I am.
You gotta be, man.
So you guys are in for a real treat today. First, just bring us through how everything is going with you over there. He's in Philadelphia, obviously, as you can see if you're watching the stream. He's in Philadelphia. How's everything going with you over there, and how is everybody in dealing with everything that's going on with the protests and the riots and COVID and everything like that?
I'm gonna tell you, man, if I had to put a word on it, man, I would probably say, man, things are very historic, man. Like, growing up, you read things, you see things about like the movements in the 60s, you read things about like little outbreaks and stuff throughout history as far as like, little pandemics and stuff like that, man, but you never kind of see yourself like living through something, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Really historic, man, and I think this may be the first event in my lifetime that I've actually taken serious. You know what I'm saying? I was a little younger when 9/11 happened, so it was serious, but for me, I was still a kid,
Right.
People were affected and stuff, but I wasn't really affected, but I was affected, but I was a child, but this whole pandemic thing, man, it got serious. And I'm gonna be honest with you, man, I'm one of those people who didn't take it serious in the beginning.
Right.
But it's really, really serious, man. But by the grace of God, everybody's okay. I tell you what, it really, really kind of made me really get serious about finances.
Yeah.
Saving up money. Being prepared for certain setbacks and things of that nature. By the grace of God, I'm self-employed, so I was able to be home with my son.
Yeah.
While he homeschooled, but I just thought about all those people who didn't have that same, luxury, so,
Yeah.
I'm blessed,
For those
man.
of y'all who don't know, Len is a architect. He's also an inventor, and he's always got his hands on a bunch of different projects. And so that's pretty much what he's talking about now, being able to do that stuff.
Thanks for that plug. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, but like I said, by the grace of God, man, we blessed, man. My son, my son, your godson, he's great, man. Mom, sisters, everybody, everybody's fine, man. But like I said, by the grace of God, man, we haven't been affected as of yet, but everything is good, man. And then, just the way the whole protest situation, is kind of clashing with it. It's just really historic, man.
Yeah.
It's like, what a time to be alive,
Right. How's everything holding up where you are, JT? I know you just relocated.
Man, I'll tell you what. If there's a time during a pandemic and riots for a white man to move somewhere, I just move there. Because first of all, it's in the middle of freaking nowhere. And second of all, dude, I moved here 3 days ago. I have not seen a black person in 3 days.
Oh.
So if there's anybody that's going to be mad at me or my people right now, I don't know where they're at, but they're not at Lake Hughes in the middle of the mountains. I'll tell you that. But what's up?
Is that it? What's that in California?
It's in California, but it's up near it's near Lancaster. but it's up in the mountains. My grandparents have a cottage, and I'm staying here right now just to kind of save money because all my businesses, I'm like you, I'm self-employed on all fronts, but
Right.
both of my main businesses are booking talent and then being the talent and playing shows.
Yeah.
So I don't know when the businesses are going to get back to normal. Some of my business has gone forever because one guy that brought me on for some of my booking is now let go. So there's a lot of changes, but it's cool. Like aside from the fact that I don't have internet up there yet, which is why I'm in my car outside of Starbucks right now doing this podcast. But it's cool being like in the middle of nowhere, very remote, very quiet, because I've got a lot of things that I'm trying to build during this quarantine. One being the podcast, and then a couple other things that I'm doing, and I'm just kind of able to just focus on that and save a little money and all that stuff too. But man, it's crazy times. And you think about this year, you know, a lot of people are like, man, 2020 sucks so far because we had Kobe die. Right before that, we had the Australia fires, which is devastating. Then we had the pandemic and quarantine. And then we've got the George Floyd situations and protesting and rioting. And but the at the same time, there's positives that are going to come from these things. But it's just been a crazy year to start.
Yeah, there's definitely some positive stuff that's going on, that's happening right now. And if you're anything like me, like you look towards the positives and you grasp them and you hold them strong just to make it through, just to keep your mind sane, you know. Even with all of the protests and stuff that I'm seeing going on, I see a lot of unity in a lot of these protests. I see a lot of you know, I almost have more white friends that have said they went out and protested than some of my black friends. You know
That's amazing. That's amazing.
And when I look at the videos and stuff, I see a lot of just people of all different races, and especially, I mean, in LA for us, like I've seen a lot of people from all different races and all different colors and age groups protesting, and even though a lot of recent days, a lot of the protests have been overshadowed by riots and people looting and stuff like that, I want to keep the main thing that a life was lost, and there are a lot of people that are out there with the right intentions that are protesting and working together and showing community, showing camaraderie and showing support. And so to those people, I think I speak for myself and people of the minority descent everywhere. We thank those people for joining in to fight what the main thing is, you know, and not let everything else take you know, front and stage, and we lose the point of what all of this, you know, is for, you know.
Absolutely, man. You know, I've been kind of like maintaining the mantra that this is no time to be political. You know what I'm saying? Like this is it's no time to, you know, to kind of, you know, to either you're for the change and for the fight, or you're not. You know, and I wish that a lot of these politicians and political figures will really just get involved. You know what I'm saying? It's funny. I kind of feel the same way about the topics that we're going to discuss tonight. I think that it has to be a stronger marriage between entertainment and legislation. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, it's a big gap. People are talking like, you know, yeah, well, we're involved and we, you know, we're this and we're that, but the only thing that can make people do things is the law. Right. You know, and so I wish that, you know, the only way that things are going to change here is through legislation. You know what I'm saying? We can do what we want. We can march. You know, we can riot, burn things down. We can do this for, you know, 360 days. You know, 365 days. But if someone is not going to step up and say, listen, you know, why do so many white police officers govern so many black communities anyway? Yeah. You know, and unless we're ready to start making those kind of changes. You know, and letting it trickle down from federal to state to local government, it's not going to, you know, nothing's going to change, you know.
And I employ everyone, before we move on, I just employ everyone that has a strong feeling about this issue, or whether it's the protests or whether it's whatever's going on, that a lot of people feel helpless right now. And I think the one thing we got to keep at the forefront is the one thing we know we can do, we can vote. You know what I'm saying? So everybody keep that same energy that's taking you out into the streets, that's leading you to write these long posts, that's leading you to do all of these things, bring that energy in November and vote. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the first thing that we are employed as citizens can do. We can vote. We can make sure that, because like you said, nothing is really going to change until the people that are in power to make these decisions change. Right. And once we see these elected officials, even if it's not even on the grand stage of the general election, voting locally, you know, for your state representatives and for your, you know, district attorneys and all of that stuff, all of these things matter because all of these players play a part in and who gets justice and who doesn't get justice and who's allowed to let these things go on. And all of these things play a part. So everybody bring that same energy into the polls, into voting when it's time to vote and have your voice be heard.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I've actually never voted ever in my life other than for homecoming queen and homecoming king in high school.
And how did that work out for you?
Well, it's good. I actually won homecoming king my senior year, and I like to think that my one vote for myself put me over the edge.
It probably did.
But no, real talk, what actually sprung me to really decide that I'm going to start voting is this thing with the pandemic and the quarantine, because I'm not happy with our governor out here in California. I'm not happy with the mayor in LA. So that's actually what made me go, oh, okay, you know what? I'm going to start having a voice and getting out there and doing it. But now with this other situation too, and the protests and everything, even more so. Like if you're gonna sit here, you know, I've never been one with strong opinions on the social issues either, but being a dad, raising kids in a certain way, and seeing the kind of, if you're not willing to go out and try to be a part of creating the world that you want for your kids and making a change, then you're just going to be a part of the problem. And I know some of us want to just stand, and I've done it. I'm 38 years old, and I've kind of just sat back and just let everybody else handle it. But anyone who's watching this, I would encourage you, if you haven't before, and there's a lot of us that haven't, and I think it's a lot of people that didn't have to deal with a lot of social shit when they were growing up. I think it's, you know, I was a well-to-do, privileged white kid growing up in an area that was very sheltered, private schools my whole life. And I think because of that, I didn't have all these things affecting my life, my friends' lives, my family's lives, my kids' lives. And it's easy to go, oh, well, what do I need to get out and vote for? But, you know, learn, get out and see what's going on and decide what you're going to stand for. It might change. Yeah, it might change as you grow up, but like, do something. Get out and do something.
Yeah. Speaking of, you mentioned your you know, being a father and having kids. Speaking of that leads us kind of into this little segment right here that I want Len to tell us a little bit about. So I want us to check this little video out right here.
Hey guys, welcome to 80 Degree Studios. I'm Duke, and welcome to my channel, guys. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about myself. I like sports. I'm an athletic kid. I do good in school. I love gaming. I spread positivity throughout the gaming world. I spread positivity, period. I mean, I'm a good kid. Since it's my first video, I need you to do me a huge favor. Smash that like and subscribe button, and turn on your post notifications so that you can see when I post. Oh yeah, guys, big news. So I'm starting a clan called 80 Grade Gamers. If you want to get in, the tryout is on Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. And the first 3 people who try out and make it, they will get 1,000 V-Bucks. Let me give you like a walkthrough of what I'm gonna be doing on this channel. So you're gonna see my dad a lot. He's not gonna be able to make it all the time because he got work to do. But like, because of this pandemic, bonded with him some quality time. Sometimes you might see me like going to like GameStop to get some new features from a game or something. I might even just chill, you know, read some comments, react to some videos, you know what I mean? So I need you guys to smash that like and subscribe button and turn on those post notifications. Love you guys. Peace.
We love you too, Duke. Okay,
so
Len, take us through who that guy is.
You said, who is he?
Yeah.
I know somebody said he's my son. That's what his mom said. I don't know. No, man. No, that's my one and only son. Your guy's son. 10-year-old aspiring pro gamer. It's funny. We started this journey with the pro gaming because, you know, of course, naturally, you kind of you kind of naturally, well, I kind of naturally always wanted him to kind of follow my footsteps in a lot of things. So, I was hoping for maybe architect, engineer, but he's so into gaming. So about 4 years ago, maybe about 4 years ago, we kind of started this whole journey as far as like his career choices. Really young, he's only 6, but we kind of have it narrowed down to a video game programmer and, just a professional blogger. So he's leaning toward the blogger thing, but the video game programming, like the whole video game mantra is like very it right now.
It's crazy, and I couldn't wait to have you on to talk about this because the other day, I don't want you to lose your train of thought, but the other day, JT texted me and was like, I think it was about the Fortnite guy that basically he was like, yo, this guy that's playing Fortnite is now making like, I think it was $500,000 a month.
Ninja.
Yeah, Ninja makes $500,000 a month just streaming his video game, just streaming himself playing video games.
Right,
and I was just like, my brother got my nephew on it, and it's a thing. It's happening. Like the gaming industry is so big, and it's almost like, as far as like the sports world goes, it's like underground, but it's making massive amounts of money.
Well, here's what's dangerous about it though, and I tell anyone who has their kids into it, they have to have very thick skin and a very sturdy chin. And the reason why I say that is, I'm 35. When I was playing video games at 10, I was playing against other 10-year-olds.
Right.
You didn't have the online community, so you knew who you were playing against. So it would be your friend from your block had to come over your house, or you went over his house and you played against each other. But the reason why I say that, the kids pretty much have to have thick skin is because, number one, you're 10, right? Mm-hmm. You're playing against somebody who's 25 online, right? Yeah. You get up in the morning, go to school, got to get your homework done. If you play a sport, you got to go to practice. You got to do a bunch of things. You don't get get to play the game till about 7, 8. So roughly on a daily basis, you say you'll play the game about an hour or 2. 2 hours times 7 is 14 hours. Mm-hmm. You're playing against guys who do nothing but play the game all the time. So when they get online, they get kind of discouraged because, locally they're good, but when they get online, they're trash. But it's because the competition that they're playing against is just like,
it's crazy.
It's crazy.
It's tough to know where you stand for your age group because you're playing every single age.
Everybody. So I tell people, I've had a bunch of kids tell me they want to be pro gamers, but then, I'm like, well, you don't play enough. They're like, yeah, well, I'm not good enough. And it's like, well, it's not that you're not good enough, man. You got to keep in mind, the guy that just smoked you is 40. 40 hours a week, So then they have things like, like you was in like the Call of Duty or the Fortnites, you have like weapon modifications, but you have to earn it. Yeah. By the time these kids get to earn the points or the V-Bucks or whatever the case, these guys have played for a week straight, have earned every gun modification, every weapons mod, every power, every this and the third. So it adds a even bigger, disparity. So I tell the kids, man, it's competitive gaming, but they have no clue the level. These guys are like 30 years old, 25 years old. The IQ is always higher, right? Just because they're older. So with the experience, the exposure, it gets pretty tough. So I just told my son, man, I said, listen, what we're going to do is you're going to have a page. It may take you 10 years to get good. Start it now, get your credibility. But I tell him, man, the goal is not to be the best right now because that's a pretty high mountain. We're going for that, but right now we just want to be out there. We don't want to like that because that stuff is pretty tough. When you're a kid that goes to school and you're playing against a guy who plays games professionally for 8 hours and But it's been a pretty it's been a pretty fascinating, like we have so many different avenues coming from this whole gaming thing that, tell you guys, like we have a game trunk like in the works right now. We have a game trunk. We have a couple of campus.
Now what's a game trunk?
A game like a game trunk like you rent for birthday parties and stuff. we're building our own, from scratch.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Like people have been doing the mobile. Like I heard about a guy who was doing the mobile game truck where he would take his like a taco truck, except it's just literally like an arcade, and he would drive it to like carnivals and people's parties, and people pay him to just get in the truck and play video games.
This is the level it is now. This is where it's going to be when ours is dropped. You know what I mean? Man, so his birthday is in October. We're going to drop it on his birthday. So and then you'll run it to come out, but it's going to be so modernized. You know what I mean? It's going to have everything. Right now a lot of these trucks don't have like the internet capabilities. Yeah. So we're going to make it so that we can host tournaments and things of that nature. Madden tournaments, tournament, Fortnite tournament. But it's so many different.
Yeah, it's grown in so many different directions.
Man. It's remarkable, man. It's remarkable. I think the number one culprit has to be probably YouTube, man. If it wasn't for YouTube, none of this stuff would be, even feasible, I should say.
Yeah.
Len, does your boy have a what is it, Twitch? He has a Twitch account also?
Everything, man. We got everything. If you look at that video, I'll send it to Joe. But that video he has Twitch, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube channel, all that stuff. But the Twitch is pretty cool because the research that I've been doing as far as like the actual YouTube videos, people are more reluctant to go watch the video game for actual gameplay. They just want to see like the edits and stuff like that. But when you go to Twitch is for the real gamers who really want to actually see you play second by second.
Right, so Twitch is literally just like just a streaming service that where people are actually just going and watching the full games, like the full.
It happens.
Yeah, and that's how Ninja, to my understanding, because he was making that money a few years ago, how he first started making the money, because you get subscribers that want to see you play. So I would think Twitch really gives the advantage to the really great players because you want to watch the best play so you can learn. Yeah, so he had all these kids and all these people watching him and subscribing. I think that's where at first he was making all his money. Now the dude's on ESPN. He's got commercials, endorsements, Red Bull, like crazy shit.
Yeah, I heard something like he did a collaboration, like his team or something his gaming team did a collaboration with like Jay-Z or some celebrity or somebody like that who is like he has like a sponsorship through another super huge celebrity or something like that.
That's crazy.
I'm in Duke's room right now, but this is called a Scuff controller. These are one of like the bigger sponsors.
Yeah.
Like once you really get good, these guys come for you and they make you a custom controller. So even looking at the back of this, look how many buttons it has. Yeah. I can take, I can make this thing has almost 6 extra buttons. Look, buttons on the side. So you're playing against guys who are, while you're hitting circle, these guys are hitting circle, this and this at the same time.
Yeah, yeah.
Getting shot by like 9 bullets, So what developers are doing, they're making their games so that these kind of controls work.
Oh, okay.
So that if you have a souped up controller, it's a lot, but guys like, guys like, we just Ninja.
Yeah.
A lot of their money comes from these sponsorships. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And a lot of those guys, because Austin, my son, he, I haven't told you about him yet, but he wants to start streaming, get into gaming and all that stuff. His big thing is Fortnite and Madden, and he's pretty good. I can't beat him in Madden already. I was never good in Madden, but he kills me. He crushes me in Madden. He's crushed me since he was 5. No bullshit. But he's on the controller right now, but he wants to get into PC gaming with the keyboard. Right. And that's the other thing. I see some big players still on the controller, but Ninja and a lot of these guys are doing the keyboard on the PC.
Everything, man.
What?
It's so many. Yeah, I'm telling you, bro. It's so many different avenues, man. It's really. I think the key for the kids. What we're trying to do is we're trying to find some unturned stones, so to speak. Like I would have loved to have been the first guy who said, hey, son, get on video and laugh stupidly at other people's videos. But somebody did that first. So we're working on ways to say, okay, well, we can't be the greatest competitive gamer. What can we do using these video games? Some people just make goofy videos, man.
Entertainment.
Yep. So that's what we're going to try to do, man.
Yeah, that's dope.
It was Drake. It was Drake. The guy that Ninja teamed up with was Drake, and apparently Drake is on Fortnite.
You had to see the concert, man.
No.
Oh man, you missed it. It was monumental. It was about 3 weeks ago. Travis Scott got to deal with Fortnite.
What?
He was throwing these concerts on Fortnite, but he has like a video game body. And the concert was live 12 midnight. I'm talking about, I swear to goodness, man, when we get off this thing, look it up, man. It would be like it would be a video, it would be a video of him performing a song, but in his video game body. But they was launching it, like first they would launch the Travis Scott skin, which is like the Travis Knight Fortnite player that looks like him. But he was having concerts, man, like, and he was dropping them like, yo.
So the video game Travis Scott was having a concert on live, Twitch or Fortnite?
Fortnite live.
What?
Live. You know how strong your server has to be to do something like that?
Yeah, that's nuts.
Like, so, I mean, these kids were staying up to midnight, man, like asking their moms, like, can we stay up? And it was like, and nobody knew what to expect. The first time it happened was they was like, it's going to be a fight on Fortnite. They didn't say what it was. It's going to be a fight. Everybody's like, what?
Like
a big, it's an open platform, so you have like the center, you have places to meet at. So I can tell you right now, get on Fortnite and meet me at the water fountain.
This is the great. I feel so old right now.
Bro, so listen, it's dope.
What's the hell going on?
Imagine me, you, and JT, your Fortnite skin, my Fortnite skin. We just sitting on the game, talking to, like, looking at each other.
Chilling somewhere. Just
all of a sudden, a giant comes out of the sky. Boom, and then a big fight breaks out, and everybody's going crazy watching it. Like it's
this just sound like some. It sound like a dream that you had. So
this is crazy, man. This is crazy.
It was really all that though, man. It was just like, I mean, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know whether to try to watch it with the Fortnite character or just watch it on the screen.
Yeah, just watch that Joe. So,
but you sitting there standing. I'm watching you on the screen. I'm like, watch out, Joe! Something behind you.
Yeah.
You turn around and there's a big mountain about to fall on you. It was just the craziest thing. So they did a thing with with Travis Scott, man.
So Travis Scott now did so he has a deal with Fortnite to where is it just him like scheduling to put on these things regularly? Is that how it's working out?
Who knows, man? You gotta be plugged into the Fortnite world, man.
I'm not up on it.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
But I did hear that there's a lot of. I mean, I did hear that there's like a lot of people who not even are making good money doing this without even being like a big name. Like I heard there's a couple of gamers that like there's like a middle of the road team that they make on average $1,000 a month. That's just like on the lower level they were saying.
Well, so just out of the spirit of transparency with you guys with family, one thing that we're trying to do is I'm looking for kids to sponsor.
Okay.
So so the video that Duke just put up is he's starting his own Fortnite clan. Right. So same spirit of like Jay-Z and Rock Nation. I'm looking for kids to sponsor, kids but also like would be able, they have the skill, but they wouldn't be able to really have the exposure.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll let them join Duke's clan, and they'll pretty much be like signed to my quote unquote label.
So when it's a clan, are they all like playing together? Are they playing under the same team? Like it's all 80 great team or?
Here's the great thing about it. It can be whatever you want it to be.
Okay.
So we're just a group. So like how you have like in the music industry, like you have like the ASAP mob, ASAP Rocky, ASAP Ferg. That's what the 80. You'll just be 80 great Duke, 80 great Buddha, 80 great Trevor, 80 great Austin.
Okay.
Or however they decide to do it, they can have Fortnite, and then you have like tryouts, like so you can kind of say like, okay, well you had to kill me within like 30 seconds to make my squad.
This is nuts.
Yeah.
But, me, I'm somewhere else with it. Dude's like, yeah. I'm like, bro, I'm not talking about no game.
Yeah.
I'm talking about we can sponsor somebody that's better than you.
Yeah. It's funny because I've been promising Austin that we'll get when we move to our new house that will be set up. I'm making him work for the money. You're gonna buy all your own stuff. will have the flat screen that you'll be able to game, like it'll be super pro and you can start taking it more seriously. But what he does right now is he plays Fortnite with his buddy Ezekiel, who he plays baseball with. Ezekiel's little sister, who is now might be better than Ezekiel. And then Austin, and then they have other friends that'll come and they'll play team. And then he also has his buddy from school that he'll play with. And they'll be all online. They'll be talking to each other, microphone, the whole thing. And I was like, man, they should really have like, because, they're fine. Or they're all 9, 8 years old. But as they get better, like I was thinking like, man, you should have like a team name, the whole thing, the brand. Because as you all get better, people will know you. People know you. And I mean, the video game world, man, it's only getting bigger.
Yeah, it is.
They haven't even tapped into how big this shit's going to be.
No. And to think about that statement and to think right now, some of those some of those top gamers are filling stadiums and they're playing video games and literally they're filling stadiums, y'all. Stadiums.
Crazy.
Tournament on ESPN?
No, I didn't see it.
What was it?
2K tournament on ESPN.
I heard about it.
NBA players were like,
oh, I did see some of that. Yeah.
I turned on Comcast Sportsnet and I saw Raptors versus Sixers game 7. I said, get out of here. That's cool.
Right, you thought, okay, I'm about to watch it.
It was 2K.
Yep. And I messed around and watched the whole game. I think it was the guy from Phoenix, Devin Booker. I think he might have won the tournament. But this happened like a couple weeks into the pandemic.
Right into it.
I was so sorry for basketball. I sat there and watched like a whole game. It was like DeAndre Ayton versus Devin Booker, and I was watching that show.
It's serious, man. It's really serious. So I think what my goal is like my son is keeping me kind of like plugged into it.
Yeah. But
I want to figure out how to, because I mean realistically, it takes a lot to catch fire as a kid on YouTube. Especially when it's people are doing things. So we're trying to find a niche, an untapped niche to kind of get get into a little bit.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting because like you said, it's more than the gaming at that age while they're developing. It's really just getting into the kind of the entertainment and getting, because we're really why people are going to tune in is because they're going to like him, right? So they're tuning in because they like what he's doing. So I told Austin, and Austin was like, because he's into cooking too. All he watches on TV, all he watches is cooking shows. Guy Fieri, freaking the what's that guy's name? Flay, whatever the Flay guy is.
Right.
We moved into the new house. Yeah, Bobby Flay. We moved into the new house. He watched 8 hours in 2 days of cooking shows. So I told, and he's a good athlete. He plays baseball, football, everything. So I'm like, man, what you got to do is don't do a separate channel for the cooking and a separate, because he sees all these kids that have just a cooking channel. I'm like, dude, just do all your stuff on one. Yeah. And then when you get an audience and people like you can start branching out and do separate channels.
Right.
But at first it's got to be about them liking you and seeing all this stuff you're doing.
Yeah.
And that's where kids aren't going to think like that. That's where the adults got to be like, all right, man, if we're starting a business, starting a thing, like we got to do it in the smartest way.
But it's a really great thing to be happening for a child at that age, because there's a gift and a curse in their generation, right? Like we grew up, we played outside a lot more. We didn't deal with as much drama and stuff like that. Cyberbullying and stuff like that wasn't a thing when we were coming up. But also this generation, because of social media, on the flip side of it, they are being exposed to building their brands more, right? Like Zion Williamson had a brand when he was 16. Why? Because he had dunk highlights everywhere, from the time that he was in high school. So even at a younger age than LeBron James did, people knew who Zion Williamson was because you just kept seeing him on Twitter and on Facebook and on YouTube dunking on everybody. And you're like, who's this massive child that just keeps dunking, that has all of these amazing dunks? And so at a very young age, he became more business savvy because of social media. So he already had a mindset about his brand and what he was going to do with that. And the same thing is going on with this gaming thing, where we were just aimlessly playing video games. Now they're playing video games for money, and they're being able to see the value of building a business and making yourself a business and building your own brand. And so a lot of them that have really smart fathers like you two will be much better off coming up because they're going to start out with something of their own. They're going to start out with their own. Austin and Duke might have their own company by the time they're 16 or 17.
It really encourages, which is good, entrepreneurial mindset.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because in an era where we're going to lose a lot of small businesses.
Yeah.
And we're actually going to lose a lot of I heard Target's going to close soon.
Wow.
I don't know if that's true, but like we're going to lose a lot of big businesses because Amazon's taken so much. I mean, Toys R Us is gone. Toys R Us.
Oh, that devastated me.
If you would have told me that would be gone like 10 years ago, I'd be like, there's no way.
Like, no way.
Toys R Us will always be around. But
Yeah.
things are going to be gone. So now, and then small businesses are going to be gone. Jobs are going to, so the employment is going to be entrepreneurial, you building your brand and online sales, online whatever, endorsements. It's going to shift because think about how far it's came, which is insane where it is now. 5 years from now, it's just going to be that much further. It's going so fast.
You know what? I'll say one of the for me, just dealing with my son, one of the toughest tasks, and I think is what I'm kind of focusing on right now, is trying to get him to be influenced by what he sees, but not a follower. Like my son has a habit of reinventing the wheel.
Okay.
So it's like, so you understand? So it's like, okay, son, okay, they have a clan. You don't have to do what with their clan. You can do something completely different, in the spirit though, under the same influence. So I think that I'm spending a lot of time showing him like our word. We have a word for the month every month. Our word for the month of June is modification. Okay. I want you to take something that you see and modify it.
Right.
In order to serve a purpose that benefits you a little more. Right. And so that's what we're kind of working on. That's our word for the month of June. You know what I mean? I want him to see, see a video. What would you have done different? Right. Okay, what would you have done different there? Okay, you like that? You like what he said or what he did? Like he's quick to kind of say what, say kind of like spit someone else's kind of catchphrase at you. But it's like, you have your own.
Right.
That's because, and it's so funny because that's what kids do. But they're gonna imitate, just like we do. When I first started singing, when Joe starts drumming, we're gonna do the things we hear because that's what we're like. Oh, I got to do that. I got to do it. Like
what
that.
You take in.
Yeah, right. But then as the better you get, you start going like, oh. But this is my take on it, And Austin, for the first time, because he does the same thing that your boy does. Austin is always like, he'll say that he'll play video games and he's not even talking. There's no one listening. He's not streaming, but he's sitting there because he's practicing. He's like, oh, blah blah blah. And he just starts saying all this stuff. I'm like, dude, and
he's practicing his trash talk.
Dude, you should hear him try food. We went and got a chicken sandwich 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And when he eats something now, he's like a judge on one of these shows. He's like,
Dad, love that.
Oh, Dad, the mayonnaise mixed with how the chicken goes with the bacon and the way they toasted the bun. This is amazing.
I love JT. Can I tell you, I love that. Do you understand how much I love that?
I'm gonna video it to you and send it to you, Joe. You will be in tears. It's so damn funny.
You don't understand. I'm one of the biggest foodies that you will ever.
I know.
I watch. You can ask JT if we're on the road somewhere, and he comes in the room. I'm watching Food Network probably or something.
And if we need to find somewhere to eat, Joe's always the one finding the spot.
So exactly. So to hear that he's already critiquing his food at that age is amazing, and I think getting them into something like culinary or all of these different. Unique type of pathways, gaming and culinary arts is I love it. I love it so much. Like it's amazing.
I agree.
I kind of maintain to my son is it seems a little glit and glamoury because when we think of this word, we think about plumbing, electrician, but it's a trade.
It's a trade.
It's a trade. I'm trying to get him to. Like, just like, I can wake up, I can get fired from my job, but as long as I know how to cut wood, I can be a carpenter,
Right. Right.
I try to tell him all the time, like, man, you can set this thing up in such a way you can just do this on the side. Like you can just kind of like hop into a Madden tournament and win for like two ranks. And that can be your rent and your everything else for the month.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
you could be you could be a drummer, a singer, a PR guy. You could be anything, and then play games on the side to make thousands.
Yep.
Also because, and Joe will relate with me on this, the music business changed. So it used to be you could be a middle of the rung, whatever, R&B star, rapper, middle of the rung, making millions.
Yeah.
Having a great career just off your music and touring. Now, if you're a medium of the rung country artist or any other type of music, you're not necessarily making a bunch of money. So multiple revenue streams more than ever is important.
Yep.
I'm trying to create, I'm starting a production company. I got other stuff because 2 or 3 revenue streams is not getting me to my goals of the kind of money I want to make unless I'm one of the biggest country stars in the world, which is tough to do. You know what I mean? So when you say trade, like giving him something that he can always fall back on, but then also like, dude, don't just say I'm gonna be a baseball player or I'm gonna be a chef or I'm gonna be a gamer or I'm gonna be this. It's like I'm gonna do all of it and I'm gonna do all of it really well and I'm gonna have 5 ways to make money.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because if one of those things or 2 of those things falls through or whatever, I've still got this other stuff happening.
Absolutely.
Right. And it's funny because and speaking about, you know, kind of a new age of parenting, our parents came from a generation where a trade just meant like it was a very narrow idea of what it was. It was go work at McDonald's and then when you're done there, go see if you can get a job at the factory or whatever. You know, it was very basic stuff, and you have to be able to adapt and survive, right? You have to be able to adapt with the times or you will not survive. And I think this way of thinking is really going to save a lot of the younger generation and coming through it, because it's not just go get a job. You know what I mean? Because especially in our world, where $15 the cost of living going up, but the inflation isn't catching up with everything else. So go get a job is not enough, right? You need a job and another job and a part-time job. You know what I mean? Like I was having a conversation with my fiance a while ago, and I said, it's funny watching, you know, some of we watch a lot of marriage shows and fiance shows. We in that whole wedding mode. And so it's funny seeing some of the parents of older generations go, you know, well, how are you going to provide and how are you going to do this and that, right? And it's like, well, when my grandpa bought his first house, he bought it for $20,000. You know what I mean? And it's like, I live in LA where a shack is $800,000. That's where you starting off at. You know what I'm saying? So we're living in a world where our circumstances are completely different from our parents and of those of years past. And so it takes this type of innovative thinking to really survive. Playing games on YouTube is a trade. It's a trade. You know what I mean? You know, critiquing food and having a food channel, all that stuff is a trade. It's a trade. You know, so you have to be thinking this way in order to adapt and survive.
Exactly, and off of what you're saying, it's also not just, even if the cooking thing never makes Austin a dime.
Yeah,
it's part of branding, which has replaced when we were growing up. The word wasn't branding; it was like commercialing. It was advertising. It's replaced that. Branding is getting out there what you're about. So it's not even about that having this revenue stream. It's about you're adding to what you are. You're adding to what you do. Which more and more companies are realizing is that that's really what it's about. It's not about what's the ROI. It's not about everything always bringing in dough. It's about building something.
Right. Absolutely.
You know, somebody just said something so profound to me. Sometimes I get like a little discouraged. I don't know, like just I guess a moment of transparency. Sometimes I get like a little discouraged sometimes, you know, because who I see myself on the inside and who the world sees me as is like 2 totally different things. So I'm just like, do y'all know who I am? But no, somebody said something so profound to me. They said, if you took Diddy, Nick Cannon, and Steve Harvey, he said, if you take 10 people, all 10 of them can tell you what they are now, but not all 10 of them can tell you what they started out as.
Right.
And I think it kind of rolls off of what JT is saying. It's like, okay, you know, if Austin was to gain any type of popularity, exposure, anything from the cooking, it doesn't make him a dime. He can always roll that over into something else.
Right.
You know, I mean, a recruit might know him, a baseball recruit might know him from his YouTube page. You say your name's Russell. Wait a minute, my son used to watch you all the time.
Right.
You know, like, you play baseball too? Wow, that's crazy. My son, I didn't know you was the same person. You know, and so and he could just take that same platform that he built there and roll it right over into something else. Just like, who the heck would have thought that Steve Harvey was from comedian to relationship expert?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But he rolled it over. You know,
he did.
Yeah.
Rolled it over. So I like, just like JT is saying, you know, like, just build something.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly. Build something. Build something.
Just build something. And at this point, the one thing that this pandemic has showed me is you gotta flex every muscle that you have, and you have to be able to adapt. Right. In the beginning of this, right before the pandemic happened, I was scheduled to be on like a 2-month tour, literally like a week before. And so we had, and then coming back, I had dates planned with JT and all of this other stuff, and weddings and private events and all this other stuff. And then all of it stopped just like that, right? And so people are freaking out, and you have a moment of like, well, what am I going to do? Because you're off the track of the plans that you had. But then I had to remind myself, like, you know, somebody asked me, well, you should apply for somebody sent me a link, and they was just trying to help, but they sent me a link saying, well, you know, Amazon is hiring. I said, I got a degree. I used to work full time for a major. I used to work full time at Capitol Records before I was a full time musician. I was working full time at Capitol Records. I was a social media and marketing manager, and I was doing graphics. I was like, I got a degree. I'll go back to working a label but it's because it's to your point where you have to have something to help you be able to adapt, right? And that was my thing. My first immediate thing was, if this thing lasts long enough, I'm gonna end up going back working maybe full time, you know, in business and working at the label or whatever. But you know, I have that muscle to flex because I never thought it only can be this way. I can only do this. I can only get a job at the warehouse and just work at the warehouse, right? And so that's it. I think the pandemic has really showed me you need multiple streams of income, and you need to build something in multiple directions, and it doesn't make you scatterbrained to do so. It makes you prepared, you know?
Yeah, and if you're in the mindset like we are, which is not just getting a job with a company and working for a company. I've never I've always been like, I want to work for myself. And I used to think that was just doing music, and now as I've gotten older, I'm like, oh, it's also doing this. It's also doing, now I'm doing all sorts of things. But, you know, we've been talking about this podcast for how many years? Doing this,
like 3.
doing this show. And we've tried a couple times, and we weren't figuring it out. And then we're busy with shows, we're busy with work, we're busy with family. And then finally this quarantine starts, and Joe's like, JT, we're starting next week. We're starting next week. We're just doing it. And we've been doing it every week, I think, since quarantine.
Yeah, literally every
week.
Right?
And the thing is that this is one show. This is small now. It's going to only get bigger, right? Someday, hopefully, it'll be really big. And what's going to happen? Another revenue stream. Because Joe's going to be like, well, I want to start another show with my other boy who about this stuff that we don't talk. It's not sports, you know? And I'm going to be like, well, I want to start something. Maybe I want to talk about music, or maybe I just want to do what Joe Rogan does and just talk about whatever. You know, and then all of a sudden you've got 2 shows. Brendan Schaub, you know, friends with Joe Rogan. He's got like 5 podcasts. Yeah. And they're all huge. Yeah. Well, and it's what you're saying, roll over the audience. You've got an audience now. Now you can do this, and that audience goes with you, and they keep going with you. Before you know it.
I think about, it's funny that you're saying that as far as like the relationships. I think about the Kings of Comedy and how that prompted everybody else to get their own shows. So Dooley got one, Cedric, you know, and Steve was on the same show, but then Cedric ended up getting his own. And then because Bernie Mac was on the show, they kind of felt like, well, wait a minute, he's the king of comedy as well. Give him his own show. Yeah. And they all was able to kind of bounce it off of each other. So just me knowing you two can kind of take me, you know. I know JP and Joe. Like, so yes, just me a show too, you know. Right.
Exactly.
Trust me, I got JT's number. He'll get on it, trust me.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. Okay, so let's get into a little bit of
sports.
There's a little bit of what's going on in the NBA world right now. they're getting very close to starting up again, and the language has really been fluid as far as what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. There's a little graphic here that I want to show that basically says what the NBA has been throwing around in preparation to start back up. So it says the NBA discussed 4 competition scenarios for restart with the Board of Governors today. The first one, 16 teams and then going directly into the playoffs. The second one is 20, 20 teams group stage play, which is more of the kind of soccer thing. The third one is 22 games to determine seeding and then a play-in tournament for the final seeds, for the lower seeds. And then the fourth one is all 30 teams come back and then have a play until you have a 72 game regular season with a play-in tournament. So which one of these do you guys lean towards, or which one of these do you guys think is really the best way to jumpstart back into the season?
Well, I may not know the best one, but I can tell you what the worst is for me. I'm a football, and like I kind of like how the NBA kind of slides in full throttle at Christmas, right? As football season is kind of leaving. So I don't like the 72 game. Would that? I mean, I would probably have to do the math, but that would kind of roll into the beginning of the football season, right?
When the NBA stopped, there was 20 games left. Was it?
Yeah, so if you add 50, that's plus the playoffs.
Yeah,
that's what I hate that. I don't. I don't like the exclusion of the 22. I mean, of the 18s with the 32. I mean, with the 22 schedule because I feel like a few of those 8 teams come from smaller markets and they need the revenue.
Yeah. And that's what they have been really griping about, because you have, so out of those 8 teams, you have teams that are like 10 and 40, and they have no shot of making the playoffs. And some of those teams don't want to go through the rigmarole of going to Florida and being quarantined and all of this stuff. They don't see any point. And then some of the small market teams are in a place where they're like, we don't think that it's fair that we would be excluded, right. And they want to be included in all of that. So there's there's a fight going on between
like this, right? You think about it like, suppose you're the Pistons and LeBron was coming to town. You spike those tickets up
right
a whole lot when he's coming.
Right.
So you won that game. You wanted that game. You was counting on that game,
Right.
16 teams directly to playoff. Is that also not taking the seeding? It's just 1 through 16 best records in the league.
Yeah. So the 16 teams straight to the playoffs thing here's what that would look like with the seeding. And apparently that would be straight no conference 1 through 16. That's something that they were throwing around. This is not something that I'm mad at. I'm not mad at the 1 through 16.
Wait a second here. So you telling me cross conference?
Yes. I'm not mad at this. So
so here's what I don't like about that. Now, what's not fair about that is if I gain my seeding from a weaker conference, and then only to be like, I kind of feel like there are some teams 1 through 30, or with all of the teams that had better out of conference records. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for them to make the playoffs, and then for it to be a mixed pot in the playoffs, it's kind of corny to me, man. But
that's true. Like you look at like the Brooklyn Nets, like a team like that. Yeah. But my thing with this is, I also, even with that, I feel like it helps trim the fat a little bit, because you still don't see as many bottom feeders in this 1 through 16 thing. And the ones that do make it in, like the Nets, they would see in the first round, they would see the Lakers. That's going to be, and I think it would be I heard them talking about it. I don't know how true it is, and I think that they would go back to the 90s first round shorter series where it's you got to win. Yeah. Right. So you're playing best of 5 in the early series. So not only do you get those bottom feeders out quickly, but they are playing, the Nets, a team like the Nets is starting out with the Lakers,
I ain't gonna lie, this is really interesting though.
It is. So if you can't, so those who are streaming and can't see the graphic, this is how the 1 through 16 team playoffs would match up as based on the current standings today in the first round. The Bucks would see the Magic. That's 1 to 16. The Lakers 2-15 matchup. The Lakers versus the Brooklyn Nets. The 8-9 matchup would be Heat Thunder. The 7-10 matchup would be Jazz Rockets. The 5-12 matchup would be Celtics and Sixers. The 6-11 matchup would be Nuggets and Pacers. The 4-13 matchup would be Clippers and Mavericks. And then the 3-14 matchup would be Raptors and Grizzlies.
You know what I want? And we've talked about this before on the show, but I would like to see a 20-game regular season to get everybody back in the flow,
Right.
and then do something like this. But not because I think it would be better for the teams or the players, but because if they did that, my Zion Williamson and Pelicans would get into the playoffs. They're only a few games behind the Magic and the Nets.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they the way they were playing up until they had to stop, if they had if they were doing 1 through 16 and not by conference, they would get in.
All right, let me throw this at you, right? Now, what about the home court advantage situation though? Like, now suppose you're the Bucks. Well, it doesn't matter because they playing that one.
No one gets a home court advantage because this would all be at one site, or two sites.
Yeah, you know what? I just don't think I want to go with anything that doesn't leave me at an advantage of how my season was going before this happened.
What do you mean?
Like, so I think I'm down with what JT is saying more so because it's like, well, no. Am I saying the same thing or am I saying? Because, yeah, I had to think about it. Because if I was having a great season, yeah, you know what? I would want to start right here then. I would want to start right where my seating, where my seating was. I would want that to count right now.
Right.
I would want to start over, with another 20 games and then give somebody the chance. Like if the Nets, if KD was hurt, KD was hurt. Sorry.
Right.
Right.
Right. Because this takes into account what you did in the regular season, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone during the pandemic break, everyone is in the same boat, right? And so even with this, I think there could be a play-in tournament. So where the lower seeds, like JT was saying, the Pelicans and the Grizzlies, there would be a play-in tournament for those lower seeds to kind of whoever was a couple games back from the 8th seed would have a chance to make it in. And then if they don't make it in, then you just go straight into 1 through 16. And you go from there.
Is it only one? How many venues is it? Is it going to be like the NCAA where they have like is it regional?
They're saying it's either would be one venue in Florida. Everyone would be on the Disney resort or whatever. Everyone would be on the Disney resort, and they would do and they might do multiple courts on the Disney thing, but everyone would be there. All the games would be played there. So it would be like the Sweet 16 tournament or whatever, but just all in one location.
No fans, all right?
No fans.
Sucks, man.
Yeah, right. Right. It's the fans thing is definitely sucks, but that's the thing that is almost guaranteed at this point that there won't be any fans at any of these games. And that's the reason why they're talking about getting it to one location so that they can completely sequester everyone that's going to be involved. So that's how they're getting the clearance from CDC to see it to play this through.
I don't know.
But I like this.
I mean, I like it too. But for me, the games would be like kind of like watching the Dream Team practice, like the Olympic basketball practice.
Yeah, it would.
But you don't have any crowd, so it's like, yeah, nice layup, but don't. I mean, what happens when somebody wins? Somebody wins a championship, everybody just hug and leave. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's literally what happens.
It's weird. That's what's gonna happen.
That's what's gonna happen. That's what's going.
I think what I would do is probably just delay the season. I don't think I would play if I had the option.
Delay it like until the next season would start, and just start from this. Start from
until people can watch me, man. Like
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I just imagine the Lakers winning the championship and it just be nobody there to see it. Can't celebrate, no parade.
Yeah, right.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be a little weird. But I'm for them trying to do something to bring it back, because I want them to finish. I want them to finish this off. I think that this is one of the last chances LeBron is going to have to win a championship, and I think they are primed and ready to do it this year. And
I don't think so, man. I think he's at a disadvantage, man, because the stride that they were hitting, the stride that certain teams were really flowing, man. And for this thing that the way it did, it's killing the continuity in a lot of situations. So what happens is LeBron come back and they're not, and they just don't have the rhythm. The timing's not there.
Yeah.
But listen, when you're trying to become the greatest player of all time and you're the second greatest player to ever play, you need all the chances.
Michael Jordan is not playing.
You need all the chances you can get for that other chip. You know what I mean?
Listen, I want this chance, because we finished the season beating the Bucks, the Clippers, and somebody else, one of the other top seeds in the West. Literally, we finished the season smacking like 3 of the top 5 teams in the league. So, but you're right. I think that's one of the reasons why I don't want to jump right into the playoffs, is because I do think that I want to give my rooting interest as well as other teams a chance to get some rhythm back and get some continuity back. And the Lakers are definitely going to need that, because otherwise it's going to be a hurt piece.
So if you do the 20-game thing, are we starting 0-0-0 record, or how's that working?
I think so. No. I think the 20 games thing would be to play 20 regular season games.
But from where everyone is.
From where everyone is. Yeah. 20 regular season games from where everyone is.
Now, like, I see, that's what I'm saying. I would have to kind of like look around a little bit, because a team that I would be very scared of, and maybe 20 games could do something, maybe it couldn't. Golden State, could they sneak in?
I don't think so. I think they could. No, they too far back.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I would have to kind of see that, though. Like,
I think that was the gripe that some of the teams had, was that some of the bottom feeders, like Golden State, barely had 20 wins. So
yeah, but none of those teams want to face the way the Pelicans were on the up.
Right.
No one wants to face them because if they barely get in, they'll be the 16th or 15th seed. So now you got to play them as a 1 or 2 seed.
Yeah.
You don't want that the first round. You don't want that.
It would have started now, right?
Yeah. But I don't think any of those teams that was as far back as the Warriors were, I don't think any of the scenarios happened where they wouldn't have a chance to get in.
I'm not. So even if they can't sneak in, but what if they're on your schedule with now a healthy Clay, a healthy Steph?
They could be. They could mess up your record.
So they can take. They're going to take 15 games from people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
that's true. That's true. They could, and they were talking about KD possibly coming back, which I don't think there's much to that. But they were saying with the layoff that KD could possibly come back, and so now the Brooklyn Nets could really play spoiler to a lot of people. You know what I mean?
I got him coming back. I mean, I don't know, man. I think I'm a sports purist, man, and all the stuff matters to me, man. Going through the West, going through the East matters.
Yeah.
The fans matter.
Yeah.
Stadiums matter. All that stuff matters to me, man. So I ain't gonna lie to you, man. Like, with the Goldie having 6 uncontested full season. You know what I'm saying? This guy out in LA can win one if he want to. I'm just gonna put like a little small asterisk next to it and say
no asterisks. We're not putting no asterisk. You know why? Because everybody is in the same boat. Because we talked about the asterisks a couple of weeks ago. I forget who, but everybody is in the same boat, and so there's no team has an advantage, or this is no different from the Rockets winning when Jordan was playing golf, or the Spurs winning when there was a shortened season because there was a lockout. Or if everybody's in the same boat, everybody's in the same boat. There is no asterisk should be added.
It would be an asterisk, man. It would be an asterisk. And I'm gonna tell you something.
LeBron asterisk.
I would go ahead and say, if I can close him in his room, no cameras, he'd probably say the same thing. He don't want to win it this way.
Oh, I think so. No, I don't think nobody does. It's just the cards that they dealt. I don't think anybody wants to for this to be what might stain a championship.
Maybe he wins a medal instead of a ring. You know what?
No, we ain't doing that. We ain't doing that. So speaking of LeBron, we have one of the latest start sit cut ones that has been making its way around.
This is tough.
The internet. This is tough. If you follow our page, you know this. So this is start one, bench one, cut two, with LeBron, Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, and Giannis. Go.
Easy. I'm starting to crap out of LeBron. I'm benching Giannis. I'm cutting two dudes in the middle.
Okay. So Len is starting LeBron. He's benching Giannis, and he's cutting KD and Kawhi.
Yeah.
So my question with this was, is this KD now, or is this KD they're all in their prime, all healthy?
This is everybody healthy right now. Yeah.
Well,
but I mean, not KD coming off an injury. We don't know how he's going to be KD.
No. Like,
okay.
All things being equal.
Good KD.
So for the first spot to start, it's tough because you've got KD, who's amazing. Kawhi's amazing. Obviously, Giannis is, but he hasn't been fully proven yet. And you've got the second greatest player of all time here, arguably.
Michael Jordan is not on the list. It's LeBron.
Arguably the second greatest player of all time. He's definitely top five, though. LeBron's definitely top five. And when you've got a top five guy in this group, it makes it hard. But if everybody's healthy and in their prime, was this prime?
Yeah.
We got to take LeBron. So LeBron's starting. I'm gonna say KD bench, and I'm cutting the two guys at the end.
Okay, so you're starting LeBron, you're benching KD, and you're cutting Kawhi and Giannis.
It's tough, but because I love Kawhi. Giannis is an easy one for me because he's just not proven yet as far as winning.
Yeah.
But I love Kawhi. But KD, man, when he's really KD, there's a reason that there have been arguments. I mean, it's clearly LeBron's the better player. But there's a reason that there was at least a debate about who was the best player in the league, because KD was absolutely unstoppable.
Yeah. You know what? You know why I gotta cut these guys in the middle? I think skill wise, anybody can start here.
Oh yeah. There's no wrong choice.
One thing that's really big with me, man, and I don't know if this is sports, but this is period, man. I can't stand a quitter. That crap that Kawhi pulled on the Spurs, I hate the fact that everybody just kind of forgets about that.
Yeah.
That was unselfish. I don't care what the reason was.
Yeah.
I hate it. And KD seems like he has a little quit in him, because I've seen some things he did on OKC.
Yeah.
That, and so when I think about it, like, do I really want to take these guys in the middle? I think, look, I get the nod to Giannis because of his work. I don't think nobody on this list works harder than Giannis except for maybe LeBron. Mm-hmm. He's a workhorse. You know what I'm saying? I take LeBron for his leadership, but I think the intangibles about Kawhi and KD make me want to get them out of here.
So I'm gonna start LeBron, obviously, but I'm gonna bench Kawhi Leonard. And I'm going to cut Kevin Durant, and I'm going to cut Giannis. Here's why. I think Giannis has proven to constantly and consistently come up short in the playoffs. And I think he has a lot of limits to his game that the other three don't have. Mm-hmm. Giannis, out of these four, Giannis has been the easiest to stop, right? Like, they're all kind of unstoppable, except not. Like, with Giannis, the way that they put almost a steel curtain in the paint and made Giannis shoot and kind of just ended the series right there. Like, they forced him they basically forced him out of the game plan. And it happened again last year. And to me, I hear a lot of praise for Giannis, but I don't hear a lot of criticism. And I think that he gets a pass a lot for his lack of efficiency on the offensive side of the ball. And I think that as far as me cutting him and KD, I think it's because that Kawhi Leonard, I think, is the better defensive player of those two because of his ability to defend almost no one on here can defend all 5 positions except for LeBron. But I think if I had to pick the second best defender on this list, to me, it would be Kawhi Leonard.
Man, I'm telling you, like, I haven't seen this guy stop too many centers except with Dwight Howard, bro. Like, we gotta stop this 1 through 5 stuff with LeBron, bro.
He is a 1 through 5 guy. We seen it happen. No one else can do it.
He's stuck.
Also, Dwight Howard is an all-star.
1 year in the playoffs. He's stuck. Dwight Howard, 1 possession.
Dwight Howard. You're not gonna disrespect. There will.
Come on.
There will be no Dwight Howard slander on this podcast.
This is the thing.
No, he can stop.
They're similar because of their build and their size, and we go through this Michael Jordan and Michael Jordan and LeBron too. It's like LeBron can defend well at pretty much every position. Mm-hmm. The modern day center, for the most part, he can guard. The 90s centers he couldn't guard because you'd be guarding Shaq and you'd be guarding a bunch of 7 foot 300.
Nobody could guard Shaq, but at his size and agility, he could guard them big guys too.
But Patrick Ewing and David Robinson, you're talking 7. The 90s were just a different thing. But whatever, we're playing today, so he can defend 5 positions. But I think like if you put him on the best scoring shooting guard in the league, I think Kawhi is a better defender when it comes to that. So he may not be. Too.
I agree. I think LeBron. Yeah. I agree that. I think that's what I was saying. I think Kawhi is maybe the best on-ball defender out of these 4 guys.
He's crazy on the ball, man.
I kind of feel like Kawhi Leonard gets a little pass sometimes because he's a great defender, but I've only seen him defend his position. I've seen him stop when the whole entire Spurs team overshadowed everything that you know what I'm saying? The Cavs were doing. So
yeah, that's true.
You know, I've never seen him say like, "Hey, you know, we need you to come off your 3 and stick this." You know, we need you to come off. You know, we need you to come off your 3 and stick this tall 4 named Kevin Durant. You know what I mean? I've never seen him. So I think the best defender on this list for me right now, baseline, will probably be Giannis, because blocks would make I think he's a better he can stick to center because of the blocks. He has more blocks than any of these guys. I think he's rangy enough to cover to stick he's
so athletic. He can move his feet. So when he hits his peak, he'll be able to guard all 5 positions. I think with him at length, even against quick guards, he'll be able to make up that. Man, I used to hate when tall guys would guard me because I'm 5'10".
Me too.
But even because I knew I was faster, but almost doesn't matter because you make a move on them, you lose them a little bit. They're still right there because they're too long.
Yeah.
So he's going to be a major problem defensively. I mean, he hasn't even he's not even close to his peak yet. That's why he's so scary.
If he had the IQ, I think LeBron is the best defender on here because I think defense is an IQ first, athletic the second thing. LeBron James is the best defender on here because he has the highest basketball IQ on here.
Right.
But if he ever does get that IQ that LeBron has, which is not guaranteed because just like you can't teach tall, you can't teach smart either.
Right.
Well, I think Kawhi's right there with him. I think LeBron's got more physical gifts, but I think IQ-wise, Kawhi's there. Giannis, but see, those things you'll see right away. As soon as we saw Kawhi come into the league out of San Diego State, you already saw why Popovich liked him so much. Yeah. Giannis, he's great, but if you're not seeing the signs now that he's got that type of I mean, he loves the game. He plays hard. He's got intangibles. But if you don't see the IQ now, it's probably not going to come. But he's a different player, though. He's that guy that he can just do so much more athletically than other guys can, and he's smart enough that you see him start to understand the game. He gets that jump shot, man. It's over.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think he needs the jump shot more than he needs to see it coming before the traps come. Like he was straight into the curtain. It's like, bro, how about this? How about you pass it up top and let it pass behind the curtain? Like, you dig down into position behind the curtain and get the ball that way.
Yeah.
So you getting the ball at the top of the three,
Yeah.
they can form right behind you. How about letting them, walk you into their defensive traps, So
yeah. Like that to me, that watching him in that series against Toronto, it was a lot. It was very evident that he was kind of still the deer that couldn't get his feet under him yet mentally. Like he's a freak physically and a lot of things that he can do, but the basketball IQ is still not. He was doing things that I was just like, especially being a big fan of LeBron and watching how he plays chess when he's playing basketball, and then watching Giannis, it's like the talent is oozing off of him, but mentally it's not there. And I think a lot of the things that hold him back is mental. It's not having the basketball IQ, like to do those things, passing out of traps before they come and stuff like that.
I'm also gonna say this because like I love Kawhi, but this is the reality. He played in an amazing system for an amazing team for an amazing coach in San Antonio. Got a chip. Great. MVP of the finals, deserved it. Great player. Then he goes to Toronto, not because he wanted to, right? He got traded there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they're this close to not even getting by the Sixers. Right?
Yeah.
Well, lucky shot.
Then they go to the finals and needed two of their top three players to go out to be out with injury to even get it done. And KD didn't even play the whole series, right?
No, he didn't.
So,
and carried them.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So they were not going to win that series if everybody's healthy.
No, they weren't.
So he's really like, and I'm not going to take a chip away from him. They deserved it. They won it. But like, he's a one championship guy.
Yeah.
He was in a great squad. So he gets a little bit overrated, even though it's good to see a guy like him that's kind of been underrated get the love and everything. But he's not LeBron. He's
gotten vastly inflated over the past couple of years, especially with the Toronto thing. It's like he went from kind of being a great player, a great two-way player, to like being Michael Jordan overnight, and to your point,
to
people
saying, oh, he's probably the best in the game right now.
Yeah.
Because of that.
Right.
This is what I want to say. I want to say to what I said. I think he did get fame, but if you look at the '90s, you take Michael Jordan. If it wasn't for Michael Jordan, you wouldn't care who John Starks is, Gary Payton, Reggie Miller. People have a tendency in sports to always like an alternative when you have a superstar. All he was the alternative. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So when he beat LeBron James in the championship, they were kind of glad, just like when Kobe came, LeBron was a great alternative to Kobe. You know what I'm saying? So I saw KD get the same notoriety for beating LeBron James in the championship. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I think more than he was overrated, he was just the right place at the right time.
Yes, he was.
The reason why you were Finals MVP is not because of what you did offensively, is because you stopped LeBron James.
Right.
KD is one big shot in LeBron's face that first championship from not winning that trophy at all, and them giving it to Steph Curry. Right. But because he made the big statement shot against LeBron, all the animations, it was kind of like, oh wow, So I really want to say, if it wasn't for the fact that LeBron James was in the league and he was able to stop him that first championship, with team defense, of course,
right.
That's what elevates you.
Yeah.
That's what makes you the hot commodity right now. Taking out the big name.
Yeah.
So let me back on that list, right? Back on that list, coming out, who do you draft first on that list, on those four guys?
I'm drafting LeBron first.
Okay.
It's tough because we already know what the other three are. We don't know what Giannis is going to end up being.
Yeah, we don't.
But
before we knew anything about him, who do you go first?
Well,
I think I go KD.
Before we knew anything about him?
The reason why I go KD is because of the collegiate career. You know what I mean? I think I knew a little bit more. I think he had a little bit more experience coming out, even though Texas wasn't really that.
Yeah, he had a lot of buzz. He had some good buzz coming out.
I would say LeBron, just because you were already seeing what he did at the high school level. Freak athlete. had it up here. You saw the maturity. I mean, Kawhi came out of San Diego State.
Kawhi came out of nowhere. No one knew Kawhi.
He was like a low lottery pick or something.
Yeah.
Nobody was talking about Kawhi.
Yeah.
I just say, who the hell is this guy with these straight backs? Like,
yeah.
And look, if you told me like, not even knowing that LeBron would end up being arguably the second greatest player of all time, you just go off the physical gifts.
Jordan or LeBron, figure out what.
Like,
I
draft LeBron.
Yeah.
I draft LeBron.
Okay, quick fire topics before we get out of here. J.R. Smith is caught on this video here, if you're not watching, beating the living mess out of some guy who was, I guess, trying to vandalize his car during a protest situation. You walk outside, you see somebody jumping on your car. What do you do? Are you taking J.R.?
First of all, I hope that's not the car that he's beating him next to.
Yes, it is.
First of all.
Oh no, not the minivan.
Buy a different car. Second of all, why would you vandalize a minivan?
Right.
But anyway, wow. Len, you go. You chime in.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest with you. The first thing I do if I see that is go back in the house, and you know what I'm coming back out with.
Yeah, straight up.
That's the first thing I do, because I don't know. The last thing I want to do is run up on somebody these days and not know what they're on.
Yeah, right, because you don't know what he got or what's going. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think I would have automatically, but as long as it was on me, that's the first thing I would have did. Because this guy's obviously outside of his mind, just jumping on my damn car.
Right. Right.
And then I think I'll probably go like a yell route, like, hey, what are you doing? Give him a chance to run off. I don't think
My only gripe with JR here is the guy is on the ground. He's clearly ready to go, and he's still kicking him. You have to let him go, JR. You have to let him go.
Yeah.
That's my.
I was just going to say that. I was going to say that the guy is scared for his life.
He is terrified.
Like kicking the shit out of him.
Bro, he is terrified.
Was that actually his block?
That was, I guess so. I think it was outside his house somewhere, or somewhere near.
That's crazy. That's
or something
crazy.
like that.
See, JR has a certain reputation though, so I wouldn't be surprised if he was on somebody else's block. Like,
he probably was. He probably was. Second to last, NFL all-season moves. Cam Newton still doesn't have a job. Who do you think should sign him? Where do you think he should go? I felt like he should go. I felt like the Patriots should have grabbed him. I don't understand why he's still not on the Patriots roster right now.
It's this right here. You can't see people. Everybody want to remember about Cam Newton is the MVP year, but everybody kind of forgets about what he does when he loses. That the Patriots way is nothing about Cam Newton that Belichick. You know what I mean?
I think they can mold him. I think if he'll listen to anybody, he'll listen to. It's the Dennis Rodman and Phil Jackson dynamic to me. Like no one could deal with Dennis, and then he got with the greatest coach of all time, and all of a sudden he was useful. And I think that Cam Newton can benefit from that.
They cut AB. If they're not gonna deal with AB, they ain't gonna deal with Cam Newton.
I think Cam is better, a little better than AB mentally.
But I think it's also. They like to do things a certain way, and because Cam's very flamboyant. He's all about fashion. He's all about the brand. And Tom Brady, even though he has a big brand, and even though he's about fashion because he's got all the whatever he does, the Armani and all the stuff, but he's not rolling into games dressed in like the most fashionable I think they just want they like their quarterbacks. Belichick likes his quarterbacks to be a little more about under the radar with everything else and more about the winning. And not that Cam's not a winner. I think he is, but I agree that I don't think he quite fits the culture. Because when I first thought about it, I was like, yeah, go sign Cam. And worst case scenario, he ends up being your backup, whatever, but like go get him now and see if he's going to fit. But I think Belichick right away knows that that's not I could see him going Andy Dalton before going Cam Newton.
You know what I think? I think for his personality and the culture, I would try to explore Atlanta's cat. As a backup down there.
Yeah. I can see that.
I would, I think he fits Atlanta. If not Atlanta, I would want to see what's going on with Washington.
Yeah.
I changed my thing on this. I thought he should go somewhere and just be a backup and then wait for someone to get hurt or something. I flipped my opinion on it. I think he should hold out to get a starting job.
I do too. I think he's
because you're going to just demote yourself and say, "Cool, I'm a backup." But if you stick it out long enough, you're going to get a starting job somewhere.
Yeah,
you're going to get something.
My issue with Cam Newton is the same issue I had with Michael Vick. He was never a student of the game, though. So I don't think, I think with his mobility decreasing, I don't think he's done enough to show anyone outside of dumping the ball off to Christian McCaffrey and him yak-yarding his stats through the roof. I don't think he's done enough in the pocket to beat anybody, I don't think he's done enough in the pocket to take away from a young prospect right now who can come in and cut his teeth right now, or a veteran a journeyman veteran who has done some things in the pocket.
Right.
I think I was expecting the Patriots to make a run when Bridgewater was still available to go get Teddy Bridgewater. I think he'd be a good fit. I think he brings his hard hat to work every day. I think he's going to put in the work in the film room. And at the very least, he'd be a bridge to maybe you finding somebody else.
Yeah,
or maybe
I'm surprised they didn't go get a bridge guy. Last one. Deshaun Jackson says with no fans in the stands, the players should all be mic'd for this coming season. Agree or disagree?
Man, that's a PR nightmare.
I'm about to say that's gonna be a mess.
How are you gonna edit that?
You can't. That's why it's a terrible idea.
That's a PR nightmare, especially coming from somebody like him.
I think it's a mess. Len Jackson, thank you so much for being on the show today. Tell the people where they can follow you and how they can support 80 Great Gaming, anything else, any other projects that you have going on.
We 80 Great Gaming. Listen, if you get on YouTube, man, search for 80 Great Gaming, man. Every single handle we have, our YouTube, our Instagram, TikTok, everything. I just want to give a shout out to everybody here in Philly, all my family, Stephanie, Danielle, Denise, Kelly, my niece Monk, my son Duke, Tyra, Buddha, Chris, mommy, everybody, man. Peace and blessings, everybody. JT, it's a pleasure, bro. I'll be out there to see you soon, man.
Thank you, man. I'm going to be picking your brain on this game and building our son's brands, brother.
I'm ready, brother.
For sure. This has been another episode of Backstage Sports. At Joe Connor everywhere, at Joe Connor 33 everywhere. Backstage Sports on all the social media platforms. Make sure that you go like and subscribe to the YouTube and turn on the notifications so you know when we are dropping another video. Remember that you can stream us on all of the podcast platforms. So that is iHeartMusic, that is Apple Podcasts, that is Spotify. And am I forgetting one other one?
I'm so used to you saying it, I wasn't even paying attention.
But we out here. We on all the platforms. Everything. Okay. I'm at Joe Connor 33.
All my socials are at JT Harker. All the stuff. You guys will hear this tomorrow. June 5th, Friday, the single comes out. Drunk People is
finally coming out.
It's gonna be Friday, June 5th, and let me get a little flash of this screenshot real quick.
Friday, June 5th. Drunk People is coming out. Make sure that you are.
Can y'all see that?
There it is. Yeah, there it is. So make sure you stream and download that.
Flexing with the arm, right there.
There it is. Everybody, thank you so much for continuing to stream and share the videos. Keep arguing, keep streaming. Make sure that you go check on somebody and share some love and stay safe. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.